Hello Idle Hero fans, thank you for tuning in today as I'm going to be doing a hero discussion video about IceBlink. Now, I've already done one of these, but that was such a long time ago that things have changed dramatically since then, and I think I should probably redo it since IceBlink is very much in the meta right now. Before I get into that though, I'd like to quickly say, anyone who's been trying to join my Discord channel from my older videos, that link is expired, and if you want to join my Discord channel, the link in the description below should be perfect, so if you want to click on that one, that'll take you right there. Sorry about the incorrect link, but let's get right into the video. Alright, so like in my last video, let's go over IceBlink stats. He has 390,000 HP, which is actually kind of low. 23,000 attack, which is low to average, not great. His armor is actually pretty good at 1700, and his speed is pretty low as well, because Rangers generally don't have a lot of speed. They're more towards the middle of the pack. His ability does 148% attack damage to all enemies and has a 30% chance of freezing them for 2 rounds, and he gains an extra 30 points of energy when he does this. His first passive increases his armor break by 32% and his attack by 40%. And this one actually kind of raised a few questions, because the fact that this raises his attack by 40% and it's still only at 23,000 is kind of weird, but I don't know why they increment stats like this. I think they should just remove that passive and add something meaningful and either have his attack lower or at the same point it is now. Not for the sake of nerfing or buffing him, but I think that when they have stats included like this, it really doesn't mean anything. It's almost like they put words there for the sake of making the passive seem like it does more than it really actually does. Armor break's a little bit different because it is displayed on the stats here, but that is kind of like under the hood, and you can check them out, but on a first glance you wouldn't notice that armor break, so I do understand why they put that there, but having attack does seem a little meaningless. His second passive is when he's attacked by an enemy, he reduces their attack by 9% and increases his own attack by 9%, and this effect will last for 3 rounds. This ability is actually one of the main reasons you see people use him in the first spot of their team, because reducing your opponent's attack by 9% and increasing your own is a lot of value, especially since if you're in the first slot, you're going to be getting hit by pretty much every enemy, or at least 4 to 5 or 4 to 6, I would imagine. So that's going to give you a ton of extra stats as well as crippling their offensive capacity. And his last ability allows him to deal an extra 110% damage against frozen units. And that's actually where pretty much all of his power comes from in terms of damage. And it went underlooked for a very long period of time. It did eventually start to become more noticeable when when people had capped out 9-star teams. A lot more people were starting to get into having multiple IceBlinks on their teams, and then that allows you to take a better advantage of this, because what you do is you end up having a first IceBlink who can use his ability, and then the second one, when they go to use their ability, this 148% damage is going to be so much more when multiplied on top of that 110. As well as, of course, the armor break that's coming through, allowing him to hurt warriors or heroes that are more defensive. But that's where I think a lot of the dispute comes from with IceBlink, is that it almost feels like there's two kind of polarized opinions on him, where one group thinks he's overpowered and one group seems to think he's either like okay but on the bottom side of the tiers. I think most of the people who doubt IceBlink's power are kind of using him as a single unit, and while that's fair because you kind of do have to like approach each hero for what they are, I think that synergy is a big problem to ignore. Like, you can't really just put that aside. And IceBlink's synergy with his own character, so having multiple IceBlinks on the same team will allow you to do tremendous damage, and that's what allows him to not only be a crowd control bot, but also a damage bot and a tank as well. And that's truly where the overpoweredness, I think, comes from. I don't really think he's overpowered. It's actually hard to define. I would put him right at the pivot spot between very strong and overpowered. It's hard to say because it depends on your team and what artifacts you have, because that's another big problem, is that if you have energy artifacts on multiple IceBlinks, that's when it starts to get really out of hand. And I don't know if I can attribute that to IceBlink or to the energy artifacts. I'm leaning more towards the energy artifacts myself, but you could debate that either way. But when you look at an ability to freeze 30% of the enemies on first turn, and then also do a tremendous amount of damage on first turn, you're looking at a hero that has very few weaknesses. The only thing that this guy's really missing is like priest quality. So if he had a heal or a more meaningful debuff that isn't just for attack, because he even has an attack debuff. So you're looking at him as almost the perfect hero in terms of versatility. And crowd control is meta right now. So having the ability to freeze 30% of your opponents for 2 rounds on the first turn with a decent attack damage. Like, his attack is not that high, but 148% is pretty good. And of course, multiply that by the 110% extra you're getting. He's going to do a tremendous amount of damage. Now, let's see if I can find you an example here. Person I'll use is Jazz Wizard, because our teams are pretty comparable, but he has 2 Ice Blinks instead of just the 1. And oftentimes what I find when I fight him is that one of these Ice Blinks will go crazy. Now, it's kind of hard to do these in recordings because I pretty much have to rely on luck and hope that one of his Ice Blinks does in fact destroy me. I don't think it happened this time, but you can still take a look at the damage charts afterwards and see what I'm talking about here. His Vesa also, by the way, is absolutely ridiculous. But I guess mine is as well. Normally my Vesa doesn't pop off like that, so I kind of got lucky this time. But this fight could still take a while because his Emily is still getting healed by Vesa, so that's kind of unfortunate. The Vesa died, but her heal lasts for so long. There we go. Alright, let's check out the stats. And as you can see, his Ice Blink, even though it didn't really get the full effects of the second Ice Blink, which unfortunately does 0 damage, still managed to do 5.8 million. And this is the kind of polarizing opinions I'm talking about. You can see situations where he does a tremendous amount of damage, and then in other situations where he just does nothing. And then that's a little bit unfortunate, but that also is attributed to the fact that I have a Demon Hunter and an Ice Blink with the energy artifacts right now. So on the first turn, a large portion of my enemy's team is often going to be rendered useless. And that's probably what happened to the second Ice Blink. He obviously didn't get to do anything, not even a basic attack. But this is to just illustrate a point, is that if I had, say, replaced this Rosa with another Ice Blink and was able to put another 5.8 million damage on my team, that would be absolutely ridiculous. And I think that that's where Ice Blink's true strength lies, is in these fights where you have multiple crowd control users, like a Demon Hunter, and then 2 Ice Blinks on top of that, as well as another unit, in my opinion, like Asmodel, who can also help burst. Because he synergizes so well, because his burst is high, his crowd control is high, he debuffs and buffs himself. It seems like there's not very much weakness for Ice Blink. So in my opinion, he's definitely a top tier, probably close to overpowered. Again, I might blame that on the magic source. It's hard to say, but both of them are very strong. Of course, you also want to have good gems on your heroes. This one is not the greatest. I just haven't had the resources to actually upgrade this yet, and I haven't had the motivation either because I don't have the second Ice Blink. But I guess my overall conclusion for this video would be that if you can get 2 Ice Blinks on your team, they are going to do a lot of work, especially if combined with 2 other things, the energy artifacts and then a Demon Hunter. Those 2 things make Ice Blink incredibly strong, and I recommend him on every team. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Ice Blink is super strong? I did get a little bit of blowback before when I mentioned Ice Blink, so I'm just curious to see where the actual opinions lie, because it's hard to tell with the comments. Sometimes people who agree with me are less likely to comment than people who disagree with me, just due to the way human nature is. So if you do agree, make sure to comment, and if you disagree, comment as well. I'm always open for discussion and more points to be brought forward, because that's the best way to learn. So let me know what you guys think, and if you enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up, and if you don't, then I'm sorry, and let me know what I can do to improve my content in the future. Thanks very much, guys, for watching, and have a great day.